Welcome to Once Upon a Ghetto. Today, we're gonna go through some real ghetto stories from the city of Compton. The untold story of the infamous Westside Pirus and the Hillside 13s. Let's go back to 2003. The Westside Pirus claimed territory in West Compton, otherwise known as Bompton, around Central Avenue between Rosecrans and El Segundo Boulevard. They've been around for over 3 decades, and they are not to be messed with. The Hillside 13s are a predominantly Mexican gang and claim a nearby territory much smaller than the Westside Pirus. They've been around since the early 2000s, but don't get it twisted, these are some crazy essays. Let's get into a story. Edgar Flores, otherwise known as Tiny Sleepy, was a member of the Hillside 13s, but he grew up in Kansas up until the age of 11 when his mom ran away with some pimp to California, where they got a small house out in West Compton. It didn't take long before Tiny Sleepy got pressed by the local Piru gangs in the neighborhood. They took his JanSport bag and found a calculator and said, "You like math, corn man? On Westside Bompton I put you on these corners and get you making numbers for me." Edgar took a beating and walked home. There he ran into some Mexicans from its block and they asked him what's wrong. Edgar said he got jumped by some mayates, a derogatory term for black people. The Hillsides jumped him in, then they gave him a gun to handle it and said that they would protect him. Due to his nearly closed eyes from being swollen, they gave him the name Tiny Sleepy. A week later, Tiny got his revenge. Malik Jones, aka Costa, was smoking a blunt with some friends at Gonzalez Park, located on Rosecrans. A car drove up and stopped. Tiny Sleepy hopped out and started busting on him, firing 10 shots. Rest in peace, Malik Jones. A violent war erupted between the Westside Pirus and the Hillside 13s over the next few years. But in 2010, both gangs agreed to a ceasefire. On October 11, 2010, the Westside Pirus went against their own words and targeted the top members of Hillside 13 all at one time. OG Mike, Big Joker, Rex, and El Gato were eating tacos at Don Tavo's in West Compton. They were all high-ranking members of the Hillside 13s. As the men were enjoying their lunch on the outside table, a black SUV pulls up while 2 men jump out and shout, "On Westside Piru!" and started spraying the Hillside men with 2 AKs. They jumped back in the van and took off. Since then, there hasn't been much word on the Hillside 13s. They held it down for some years, but you know how it is, survival of the fittest. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for another episode of Once Upon a Ghetto.